Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
Just to start with, could you just briefly introduce yourself?
Okay, my name is Lakshmi Menon Bhatia, and do you want a professional introduction? Do you want to know what I do?
Yeah, more
Tell
like a
me what
professional.
works. Okay, so I did my master's in social work after doing my graduation in psychology, and then my longest career was with Gap, the clothing company. I was their global director for human rights and CSR. And prior to that and after that, I have been a counselor and a soul coach in schools and colleges of Delhi. I still work with women and children on a whole host of emotional and mental issues. And I also practice some meditation. I lead groups and individuals into meditation, and I'm also a lot into things like gardening and so on. So there's a whole range of activities that I'm
Yeah.
involved in.
That's really interesting, ma'am. So, as you mentioned that you do look into emotional and mental well-being of people. So, with the lockdown, as you know, many people have had issues with their mental health, or maybe have had issues with their emotional well-being. So, what do you have to say to that? Like, how did you catch up with that on an online basis since you physically couldn't probably meet them?
No, I think what was important was to really understand, and whoever I would either connect with, or sometimes I would put up posts on, say, various social media platforms or share posts. It was important to understand why COVID is such a game changer. And these were the messages I would give to people, because it's really important that what COVID has done is it's pressed a pause button on what was this crazy treadmill of life that everyone was running on and rushing on. So while the usual sort of take on COVID has been, especially in the initial months, was that it's such a terrible thing and it's really bad. And of course, like any other challenge, it has its own negatives. But I'm a strong believer that crisis precedes transformation, and COVID actually came as an opportunity for people um, to get off this treadmill, or to at least press a pause button, and to actually deal with the unresolved issues in their own lives, in their homes, in their families. Because by virtue of the lockdown, people couldn't keep escaping outside and distracting themselves with either work or 100 other distractions that are there, available or even online. And so I know more and more families have had to confront issues. It's not always been easy. I work very closely with women across, all sort of sectors and classes. So one of the studies I was involved in, research studies, a couple of months back, talked about, about a 60 to 80% increase in domestic violence, for example, in the homes of people, because so much of anger and aggression. And this, if you're interested in the emotional mental wellness space, that unresolved emotions will come out, either explosively as anger and aggression, or implosively as depression and other sort of related issues. So I think what the pandemic has done is it has held a mirror up to everybody's face. It tells each of us exactly where we are in this journey of life. It shows us what we need to deal with, what is unresolved, and it tells us about the way forward. Because you see, um, if you really slow down and sit down with yourself and you're able to kind of quieten your thoughts, actually all the answers that you need are already there within you. So, for a lot of people, after the initial 2 or 3 months, I have had many, many people tell me they've had breakthroughs in their lives, in their relationships with themselves first. And that is now slowly beginning to result in breakthroughs in other relationships around them, because everything outside is actually just a reflection of our own inner mirror. So if you change the image in the mirror inside, then your outer reflection begins to change. And one of the ways that you're beginning to see this catharsis, if I can call it, is a huge, boost and boom in creativity. People are now cooking and drawing and painting and creating all kinds of stuff. I mean, there's such a huge blast of creativity in the homes of people. That's a joy. And people are discovering parts of themselves which they couldn't connect with when they were so busy running and rushing on that treadmill. So yeah, so that's a long answer to your question.
Yeah. So, ma'am, because as you know, like mental health has gained a lot of importance like these days. So, do you think the lockdown has played a significant role in highlighting mental health and making it as important as our physical health?
Absolutely. I think what it has done is it's not allowed anybody to escape, um, you know, sort of admitting that there are issues that have to be dealt with in a mental space also. Because what happened in the last 2 decades, primarily, with an explosion of the kind of mad race that everyone was engaged in, it became all about external goals, external validations, external achievements and successes, whether it is the school education system, whether it was a corporate world, even in other sectors, education, health, anywhere that you see. And so people were so busy in just functioning from their mind, from the mind, very little time to focus on the heart, on the emotions, on the other things. See, a human being is not just a body and a bundle of thoughts. In fact, if you go into the deeper Indian way of life, Indian system of life, and not just Indian, if you see in any of the older civilizations, whether it was in Egypt or China or the indigenous civilizations in Australia or Central and South America, everywhere there was an acknowledgement that a human being is not just a body, but there is a spiritual component, there is an emotional, mental component, there is an intellectual component. In Sanskrit, these components or sheaths are called as koshas. There are 5 different koshas in which the energy of a being operates. Unfortunately, we've forgotten all of that, and modern sort of systems and educations have reduced us to just these almost like mechanistic pieces who are just sort of functioning from here and operating from this very limited understanding of ourselves. So what the pandemic has done is it's forced people to sit down with themselves and acknowledge that I am much more than my designation, than my bank balance, than my identity, than my name, or who I'm married to, or who my husband is or children are. So all of these limited identities have been shaken to the core, and this is forcing people to think beyond and to go deeper. And it's almost like the mirror, which was totally focused outside, has been forced to turn inwards. So there's a whole inner world that people are beginning to explore or crash into or collapse into, depending on just where they are on their own journey and understanding.
Okay, so as there's a spike in COVID cases, has there been a spike in psychological disorders as well?
I think what has happened is it's brought to the fore people's psycho emotional systems, which used to be kept hidden
Okay.
under many many layers. जो है वो सब कुछ ऊपर आ गया है. So you get to see. So people say it's increased, but I would say it's only actually come out for expression. जो था, जो दबा हुआ था, जो बंद था, वो अब दरवाजा खुल गया है, इसलिए निकल के आ रहा है. So yes, there is a far greater expression, acknowledgement, and now people are searching for the answers, all of which is fundamental if we are to build a healthy society going forwards.
Okay, so what would you have to say about the stigma that COVID has with it? Like a family that it has unfortunately been diagnosed with COVID, the things that they face, and like the stigma, like the paper being attached outside the house saying that they are quarantined, and vegetable vendors refusing to deliver, or maybe people maintaining distance. So, what do you have to say about that?
So I think, honestly, it's been a mixed bag, because I know a lot of people, some of my friends who, did get the infection, but they've had the most amazing support from their communities, the RWA, the neighbors, the vegetable wala. So once again, depending on where we are, our life experiences have also sort of been different. And so yes, there has been the other extreme of stigma and isolation and labeling, but I think particularly in the last couple of months, I'm hearing more and more positive cases, because see, this is the thing about the human mind. You can't permanently keep an entire population in the state of fear.
Yeah.
After some time, the mind also becomes more resilient to it. So for example, I live in a colony in South Delhi. So now what I see is when cases emerge, neighbors are all checking out for each other and, telling the family, hey, we are there if you need any help, and don't worry, my uncle has recovered, and, my bua's family is recovered. You guys will be fine. And so there's a lot of that happening. That's number one. Secondly, I think the biggest insight and breakthrough has been people have realized that we are nothing without each other. So this sense of separateness, those walls have begun to crumble, because this virus has brought humanity to its knees. Um, and I think, when you come down, when you fall onto your knees, it's a humbling experience. There's a lot of humility. And in that humility, you realize that you're not separate from anyone else around you. It's all one consciousness, just manifesting differently. So I think this is all a part of what is eventually going to be a very, very positive trajectory in the long run, if people are willing to stop running and face and deal with what they really need to.
I'm so glad to hear something positive about this. So, ma'am, how did you manage with your basic needs?
Yeah, well, the first month was really tough because, I don't have a full-time maid at home. I have part-timers who come and go. So obviously overnight, none of the part-timers could come. So for that first month, and because I also do a lot of work on the issues, I'm from, I've worked in the garment factory. And so a lot of the garment workers were the migrants that you saw walking across the country, from all across India. So I was deeply involved in those issues. And so it meant I had more work than usual. So I had conference calls to juggle with cleaning at home and then cooking and, my plants, because it was again, really, really hot, and I just have a lot of plants on my terrace. And so um, I think for each of us, we had to get out of our comfort zones. I had to, it wasn't easy that one month. There were times when, like I said, I was literally on my knees also saying, like, what do I do? What do I not do? I relaxed about a lot of issues to do with general, sort of cleanliness. Ki agar daily pocha nahi lagta, it doesn't matter. We make it every other day, or do vacuuming, over the weekend. So I think life came down to really simple brass tacks. What do we need to do every day to survive? Which meant, for example, the plants had to be watered because they would die. Food had to be cooked because we had to eat. The dishes had to be done. So, there was a whole process of simplification of our needs and of what really needed to be done, because then I had to jump on calls, and I had calls after calls after calls and meetings to attend. So and my husband's work is such, because he's in the IT space, he was working anyway about already 12 to 14 hours a day. So between my daughter and I, we sort of, managed that one month. And then thankfully, they relaxed the rules in our colony. So I could bring one of my maids in, who then stayed with me till the lockdown was over. So she stayed at home, and that made a world of difference. So another thing is, I mean, I think some of us have always been very appreciative of the staff we have who support us, but I think this period just made us value them that much more. That you realize that your well-oiled life runs because there's so many other people contributing. And
Yes,
so I think these are all insights. It's just made us far more human. I think the human heart has been hit in a big way. And so a lot of, the walls that were constructed in the busy life of living this crazy, sort of living in this crazy world, a lot of those walls got hit or cracked open by this whole pandemic.
that's absolutely correct. So, finally, what have you learned? Like something that's probably changed you as a person? after the experiencing this lockdown, because none of us had expected that India could go under a lockdown. So something that you have learned through this experience.
What have I learned? I think one thing that I've learned is that always be ready to expect the unexpected. I think so. That's the first sort of lesson, that don't ever sort of get comfortable again to the extent that you think that cheezein aise hi chalengi, because anytime anything can change. That's one. Secondly, I believe every generation is sent a crisis of this magnitude, every generation. So if you look back in time, just to give you some examples, some of the generations had to go through World War One and World War Two, and Spanish flus and pandemics, and then the partition and so on. So, and I think in our case, our generation, it's this pandemic which has impacted everyone at a global level. So I truly believe that crises of this nature come when a big shift is needed in the way people are living or humanity is living, because somewhere we have played around too much with the interconnected balance between the human species and the other species in nature. So to become more conscious about all of that, which means looking at what is the waste we are creating, how do we treat the other species which are in interaction with us, whether it's a stray dog to a cat or a bird, or the trees which get pruned brutally. I mean, we're so insensitive as a human species. We're the only ones who destroy like this, and I think that's been a big wake up call. So I think I've always been very sensitive to these issues. For me, it was just a huge validation that life cannot go on as usual. So either we wake up, or then it's a different life that is staring us in our face. So I think it's been that. And then the last point which I made is, I think the most important thing is connect, connect, connect. Connect with yourself, connect with God, connect with each other, connect with nature, and just know that we're all there for each other. So just reaching out to support people, allowing myself to receive support. You see, for some of us who are in usually in roles where we are givers, um, just the process of being ready to receive is also very important. So the balance of giving and receiving, that was another very, very important theme that came through during
Yeah,
this
that's
pandemic.
right. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your time. It was great talking to
Not
you.
at all.
Thank you, ma'am. Stay safe and take
You're
care.
welcome.
Bye.
You too, and all the best with everything you're doing. Okay.
Bye.
Bye, Anvi.